All right, well, come to a comfortable seat and really start to tune in to this moment. Notice your breath and your thoughts. Notice any places that might be holding onto some tension today. See if you can bring a little breath to those areas right away. And start to see if some of those places will begin to soften, ease up a bit. And as we start to connect with the breath, we'll also start to connect a little deeper with the body and reach up a little bit taller through the spine. Feel some elongation along the side body. As each of the sides start to lift a little bit. Lifting through the heart space. And we'll lean back just a little bit in space, giving us a little bit more room, and touch back in with the back body. Give you a little bit more room to then dip the chin and feel that lengthening through the back of the neck. As we pull the chin back in space as we let it come down. Really feel a nice stretch through the back of the neck. And maybe start to slowly take the gaze all the way down, but keep taking the head backward in space so you really feel a stretch. Not just in the back of the neck, but also starting up in the upper back. We'll let the legs be heavy and just kind of press them down. And then we'll take the right ear over to the right shoulder and get into some neck rolls on this side. Moving really slowly to feel into this side of the neck and rolling into any place that needs a little massage. We massage into the right side and stretch into the left. Let the shoulders drop down away from the ears. Let the upper back muscles relax. And we'll bring the head back to center and then take it over to the left. Stretching into the right side of the neck and massaging into the left side. Noticing if this side feels any different from the other side, and working into any places that maybe need a little massage, a little release. Taking another couple of breaths on this side as we observe what's going on, any sensations that come up here. And come back to center and notice for a moment how each side feels now. If there's any change or maybe not, just observing. And then we'll kind of sit back a little bit more on the sit bones, releasing some of the fleshy part so that we can really plug the sit bones down into the ground. And then we'll swap our legs around. So we have the opposite leg in front. And then reaching forward, press the hands down into the earth. And then go ahead and let the head drop and the chin drop, and really tuck the chin into the chest, pressing down into the hands and using that to press down into the sit bones. Getting a nice stretch through the low back as you press down, root down through the tail and press down through the hands. And as you tuck through the chin, I'm stretching through the whole spine here. As you inhale, breathe up energy from the earth into the hands, up the arms, into the body, into the back body, and then exhale down the back, down the tailbone, all the way back down into the ground. Making a circuit of energy with your body and the earth. Inhale, breathe into the hands. Carry that up the arms and then down the back as you exhale. A couple more breaths here. Drawing up energy from the earth and then releasing anything you don't need and letting it carry back down into the earth. Then begin to walk the hands over towards the right side. And press down into that left hand and really get into the left side body. And keep the head drop down and chin tucked in. Breathing into this side. Observing where you notice any sensation. Then leave the right arm planted and begin to lift up through the left, reaching over towards the right, pressing down into that left sit bone, increasing the stretch through the side body. And then begin to make a rainbow with that left hand, taking it all the way up, following your fingertips with your gaze, and taking the arm all the way up. And then all the way over towards the left. As we start to sit back up as the left hand reaches the ground. Inhale, lift up through both arms, reach up for the sky. Exhale, fold forward again, reaching far with the arms, pressing back with the sit bones. Then walk the hands over towards the left, palms down. And I'm pressing into that right palm and the right sit bone, increasing that stretch all along the right side. Noticing, observing what you're feeling here on this side. Take a few breaths. If the shoulders have started to creep up around the ears, you can go ahead and let them relax. And keeping the left hand down, we'll begin to reach through the right arm, reaching for that left side, stretching all across the body, and then bring the right arm up, making that big arch in the rainbow as you follow the hand with your gaze, bringing it all the way up, all the way to the right, and then slowly begin to slide the rest of your torso up, back up to center. And take a few breaths here. And then we'll keep the left leg out, bent at a 90-degree angle here out in front of you. And then we'll swim the right knee and right leg back behind you. Coming into our deer pose. So our left leg is making a 90-degree angle straight out of the hip socket and then straight over. And then from here, we'll take the right hand to the left knee and then twist over towards the left. As we inhale, getting a little bit taller through the spine, keeping the ears in line with the shoulders. Using the left hand here to press down into the ground. We'll take a few breaths as we feel into this twist. Having the twist come from the rib cage, from the middle of the body. And then exhale back to center. We'll swing this right leg back forward and then switch legs. So this time the right knee is going to come straight out of the hip socket and then make a 90-degree angle. And then we'll swing the left leg back behind you. Make a couple more L's or 90 degrees back here. Coming into our deer pose on the other side. We'll press down with the right hand to help us straighten up a little bit taller. Inhale the left arm up and then over to the right knee as we twist over towards the right. Letting the hips lift as much as they need to. Letting them come along with you in this twist a little bit, but directing most of the energy towards the torso and the rib cage. As we press into that right hand to lift up a little bit higher with the spine. Getting a little bit taller as we inhale and a little bit deeper in the twist as we exhale. Take a couple more breaths here. Feeling into the hips, the extension here of that left hip. One more breath. And then exhale, come back to center. And we'll swing this left leg back in front of us. We'll bring the feet together for just a moment. Swing the hands back behind you. Interlace the hands, the fingers. Draw the fists down away. Lift up a little bit taller. Inhale, look up. Little baby back bend in through the spine. And then exhale, round all the way forward. Lifting up through the hands. As we come all the way forward. And inhale back up to center. Exhale, releasing through the hands. And take a moment here to just wiggle and jiggle it out and just observe. Then we'll shift onto all fours. Coming first to a tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And then we'll bring the elbows down to where the hands are, coming into our puppy pose. Inhale, lift up through the hips a little bit higher, and then exhale, melt the forehead down to the mat. Letting the heart reach down towards the mat. Opening up through the shoulders and widening through the low back. Press down through the tops of the feet. Hug in through the abs, giving you a little bit more space and width. Take another breath to observe what's going on in this posture. Then press back up onto all fours. And we'll get into some cat-cow. So inhale, draw the navel towards the knees. Looking forward, shoulder blades pulling together. Exhale, low back moves first as we tilt through the pelvis, round through the whole spine, dip the chin in last. Inhale, tilting through the pelvis first, dropping it down, dropping the navel down. Pull the shoulder blades together. And exhale, low back rounds first, then all the way up to the chin, tuck in the chin, widen through the shoulder blades. One more time each way. Inhale, tilting through the pelvis. As we pull the shoulder blades together, pull the chin back a little bit. And then exhale, tucking through the pelvis, rounding through the spine, pressing down into the palms and the tops of the feet. And then coming back to neutral. We'll take a breath and then tuck through the toes and lift the hips high and back into our first down dog of our practice today. Take a moment to slowly pedal through the feet, slowly pressing one heel down, feeling into that side, and then slowly press down the other heel. Feel into that foot, all the way up the calf, into the hamstring. Alternating, slowly pressing down one heel and then the other. As we work slowly to start to lengthen through some of those muscles. Breathing into those areas, giving them time to start to lengthen. Giving them the space they need. And then come back to center with your down dog. And we'll walk the feet up to meet the hands. Really slowly press down into the toes all the way down to the heel. Making really slow movements. Really getting something out of each step. And then we'll come to our forward fold. And take a look at our toes and make sure they're parallel here. And then drop the head, drop the shoulders, sway a little side to side. Taking a few breaths to really breathe into first the head, neck, and shoulders until they really feel loose. Maybe shaking the head loose. A little yes, a little no. And then breathing into the low back. Expanding it, widening it with every inhale. Then bringing your attention and your breath to the backs of your legs. Breathing into those areas as they slowly begin to unfurl. And then take the hands to the feet and we'll slowly drag them up the fronts of the legs as we roll up. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Like a fern, fiddlehead fern, slowly starting to unfurl. And then rolling the shoulders up and back, bringing the head up last. We'll come to our mountain pose. We'll take a moment here to press into the big toe, the pinky toe, and the heel. Feel those 3 points of your triangle to create that stability. Inhale, reach up through the arms, taking them out wide and up. Exhale, take them wide again as you hinge at the hips and float all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, dragging the hands up to the shins or to the thighs. Hugging the elbows into the side body to pull the shoulder blades together. And then extending the crown a little bit, pressing it forward, and then sending the hips a little bit backward, creating a little bit more space through the spine. Almost like you can stretch yourself a little bit, like you're elastic. And you can pull the head and the tailbone apart. And then exhale, float all the way forward, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms out wide to the side as you rise. Lots of space in the arms and the whole body. And then we'll pause here, looking up, reaching up, and then pull the inner thighs together. Like energetically, like you're sucking the inner thighs towards each other. And then exhale, float the hands down. just the hands. Come back to our mountain pose. And press down into the feet and feel the shins begin to lift. Pressing into the outside of the foot and the inside of the foot. And notice how that activates the shins. The kneecaps lift. You start to feel into the outer thighs as you press the feet away from each other. Like you're going to rip the mat in half. Pressing those feet very actively until you feel the outside of your thighs turn on. And at the same time, feel the inner thighs start to pull towards each other, like there's a magnet between your thighs. And feel that strong engagement throughout the whole leg. And once you find that, inhale, reach the arms out wide again, look up, and exhale, swan dive all the way back down, forward fold. This time we'll plant the palms, step one foot back, then the other, coming to our plank pose. And then press out through the heels. Like you're reaching the feet back. Tuck through the abs. Like you're pulling the navel up and in. And then widen through the shoulder blades, creating lots of space between the shoulder blades, pressing into all 10 knuckles. Like your hands can pull the mat apart here. And then shifting forward on the toes, slowly lower all the way down to the belly. As you lower, pull the elbows into the side body. Pull the whole arm into the side. Come down. Inhale, lift up into cobra. And so you're looking down. Press up through all fours or straight to plank. Press out through the heels for a moment. Then lift the hips high and back, downward facing dog. And notice how this down dog feels now. Notice if there's any difference here from your first. Take the right side and we'll start to dip the right hip down just a little bit from here. Just let the right hips tip over towards the right. And then come back to your center down dog. And then let the hips drop over towards the left, trying to press still evenly into the right palm. And come back to center. And we'll go to either side one more time. Drop to the right, press into that left palm still. Back to center, then drop it over towards the left, pressing into the right palm. And then back to center. Then lift up through the right foot, press down into the left heel, coming to our three-legged dog, dialing those pinky toes down so the hips are squared forward. And then take the right foot, sweep it all the way through to up to meet the hands. And coming into our lunge. We'll position that right knee over the right ankle. Help protect the knee joint and activate the quad muscles. And we'll pause here for a moment, pressing down and out through that left heel. And then shifting the right hip a little bit forward, letting the left hip slide back. Like two doors of the door wall. Then bring the hands to the hips. And then inhale, lift up into our high lunge. We'll pause here for a moment, let the shoulders drop. And then reach the arms up high. We'll take a breath here, hugging in through the abs, letting the shoulders drop down away from the ears. And then exhale, bring the hands back down to frame the right foot. Slide the right foot back, coming into our plank pose. Active through the legs, all the way up, keeping the ears in line with the shoulders. So pulling the head back up in space. Yeah, good. Then we'll slowly start to lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, lift up into a baby cobra. Exhale, back down. Tuck the press up to plank, and then up to downward facing dog. Take a breath here, recalibrate. And this down dog, we'll rotate the inner thighs a little bit towards each other so the toes start to come towards each other. And then rotate the shoulders outward. So those elbow creases are shining forward. Maybe even taking the hands a little bit outward. So the fingertips maybe are off the mat a little bit. And notice if that creates a little bit more space and allows the shoulders to melt as the heart reaches towards the knees. And take a breath. And then step, hop, or jump your feet up to meet the hands. Forward fold. Find your footing, and then inhale the arms wide to rise all the way up. Bring the hands together and then let them slice through center to come to your heart. Inhale, lift back up, reach for the sky. Take the arms out wide to slowly fold all the way forward. Back to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time bring the arms out wide to a T. Flat back, long through the back of the neck. Reaching the arms out, creating space here. Shooting energy out from both fingertips. And then exhale, forward fold. We'll plant the palms and slide the right toes back. Coming into our lunge on this side, we'll take a moment to set up. Left knee over left ankle. So we'll slide that ankle into place. Getting the quads ready. Activating those quads, protecting the knee. Shooting energy out that back heel. And bring the hands to the hips. Reaching the elbows wide to the side. As you're ready, we'll inhale, reach back up. Lifting up into our high lunge on this side. And then pressing the elbows back, the shoulder blades towards each other. Activate the glutes here too. Feel them turning on. And lift up through the abs. And then reach up with the hands. Take a breath here. Feel the engagement of the legs. And then exhale, take the arms wide to float all the way down to frame the left foot. And slide the left toes back, coming back to our plank pose. Hello, plank. Then we'll come down to the knees. And let the tops of the feet come down to the mat. And begin to get into our scapular push-ups or rhomboid push-ups. So we'll just let the chest drop. Keep the shoulders in place. And then press up round through the upper back. And then let the upper back just cave in as you drop just the chest down. Keeping the shoulders in place, hands in place. And then press back up. We'll do a few more, letting the heart sink down, and then press back up, widening through those shoulder blades, and then one more, letting it drop down, starting to feel that activation, and then press back up. And then sink the seat to the heels, coming to a little child's pose for just a moment, reaching the arms forward, walking the fingertips a little bit more, so you can feel that stretch underneath the armpits. Take a couple of breaths here. And then you can experiment here. Take the hands to the feet. And then let the shoulders drop left to right, widening through the shoulder blades, just where we've just been activating those muscles back there. And then let them Let them lengthen and widen and release. Take a breath, breathing into the upper back body. And then reach the hands back in front of you and press all the way up to all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips high and back, straight to our down dog. And slide the left foot forward. And come back to our high lunge. Left knee over left ankle. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach up. Plant the right heel down then. Come into warrior one. Take a breath. And then open up into our warrior two. Opening up, taking the right hand out long behind you. Left knee still deeply bent here. And then taking a look at that left knee and making sure it's pointing over the second toe. So maybe pulling it back a little in space. Then we'll straighten through that left knee. Turn both toes forward. Reach up through the arms and come into our star pose. Take a breath in our star. And then exhale, float all the way down, wide-legged forward fold. Drop the head, drop the shoulders. Shift your weight a little into the right side and into the left side. Just a little side to side action with the hips. A little seesaw side to side. And then walk the left hand over to the right shin and reach up through the right hand. Twist open towards the right. Exhale, bring the hands back down, back to center. Then bring the right hand over to the left shin, reaching the left hand up and twist open towards the left. And then back down to center. And bend through the right knee, and we'll lift up the left heel, coming into a little wide side lunge. And we'll take a breath on this side. And then walk back to center. And then walk the hands over towards the left. We'll bend into the left knee and lift up through the right toes. Coming into wide side lunge on this side. And walk back to center. Bring the hands to the hips and press back with the hands. So taking the thumb around to the back side of the body and using the fingers in the hip creases to press back into the thighs, into the hip creases. Feel that lengthening through the low back. A little bit of traction there through the low back. And then inhale, lift up through halfway. We find our flat back, roll the shoulders so the shoulder blades are pulling together. Elbows are out wide. And then feel the low back widening left to right. With the feet, we'll pull the feet like we're pulling towards each other. Like they're pulling towards each other, activating the inner thighs. And then press the feet away from each other like they're pressing, like you're pulling the mat apart, and feel the outer thighs engage. And then see if you can find engagement in both. Pulling and pushing away at the same time. And then coming from center, lifting the navel to lift you, rise all the way up. Roll the shoulders up and down the back. And then we'll turn the right toes out to the side. Bend into the right knee. Come into our warrior two on this side. from a little bit different perspective. And then reach the arms out wide to the side. Look over the right fingertips and take a look at the right knee. Make sure that right knee is tracking in line with the second toe. Maybe pulling it back a little towards the pinky. We'll take a few breaths into Warrior Two on this side. Lifting up through the navel, lifting up through the sternum, but letting the shoulder blades drop, knitting the ribs together. And straighten through that knee. And we'll heel toe the feet just a little bit together, not all the way, just so they're not quite as wide. And then lift up through the arms, look up, reach up, and take the right hand down, leave the left hand up. And then we'll slide the right fingertips down towards the knee, start to bend over towards the right. And then just a few inches here, we'll lift up just a few inches and then let it slide back down. We'll do that a couple times, lifting up just a few inches and then slowly letting it slide down so that we're using the activation of the side muscles to lift you and also to take you down. So instead of using gravity to let you just fall down, we're using the muscles in the side to lift and lower. A couple more times. And then inhale, reach all the way up for center. And exhale, drop that left hand down. Oh yeah, this feels good. And then we'll slowly lower that left hand, slide it down the left leg as we reach over with the right. And then we'll do our slides on this side, really slowly sliding the left fingers up just a few inches and then letting them slowly slide back down. And by doing it really slowly, we keep the muscle activation on the side body. So really feel those side abs working here to lift you and then to slowly lower you. We're not using the weight of the head so much, but little side muscles. A couple more times. And then inhale, we'll reach all the way up with both arms. And then let the hands fall down slowly, gently, lovingly. And then we'll heel toe the feet all the way back together and give them a little shake out. Maybe rolling through the wrists too and the ankles. And then we'll come back to center and ground into both feet and lift up through the front body and feel that current of energy just like we did in the beginning when we were folding forward. Lift up through the front and then let the energy ground down through the back body, sending the tailbone down. And then grounding into the left foot, we'll kick the right heel up or pull the right heel up and back, and then grab a hold of that right heel with your right hand. And we'll pause here, a little quad stretch. And we're going to play with some dancer options in our dancer pose. So we need to get a little bit closer to a wall. But the way that we're going to press into the wall is to press facing forward. So face the wall and press in with your left hand and then take the right ankle into your right hand. And then switch the right hand so that it's on the inside of your ankle. And begin up through the right leg, while you press firmly with the left hand into the wall. So you may need to adjust where you're standing a little to feel that, to be able to press firmly against the wall with your left hand. So press into the wall and then kick back through the right. Kick up and back through the right heel and press into the wall. I'll take a few breaths on this side. Feeling that opposition of pulling away with the right leg as you pull in with the right arm and press away with the left hand. A lot of space we're creating here. And then exhale, we'll bring it all down, shake it all out. And we'll prep for the other side. So judging by where you were the last time, it might be a little bit different, might be about the same distance from the wall. Find a place where you can press into the wall with the right hand, facing that wall, and then bringing the left heel up, grabbing from the inside of that left heel, and then begin to kick back, flexing through the left toes. And maybe you need to adjust again as well, the distance you are from the wall. And then press into the wall with your right hand, and then press away with the left foot, kicking up through the left knee, feeling a stretch through the standing leg and through the lifted leg, and then pressing through that right hand, feeling the whole arm activate. We'll take another breath here, and then slowly lower everything down. Give it a good shake out. Yeah. Rotating, rolling through the wrists, the shoulders, heels, hip shimmy, shoulder shimmy, whatever needs to move and groove. And release. We've built up a lot of good energy, charged up, and now we can let go any excess. And then we'll eventually, once you're ready, begin to draw yourself into a very still mountain pose. Take a few breaths here, like your feet are plugged down into the earth, feeling that big toe, pinky toe, and heel. Draw energy up from the earth as you inhale, all the way up to the crown of your head. And then exhale it all back down out through the feet, down into the earth. Inhale, reach all the way up. And exhale, press out wide again, as wide as you can as you hinge at the hips and fold forward. Take a breath. And inhale, halfway lift. Drawing the shoulder blades together. Ears up in line with the shoulders. So pulling the head back a little bit so that that neck is a long extension of the spine. And exhale, forward fold. And we'll bend through the knees, come all the way down into a little squat with the knees in front of you. And then round forward, dropping the head, tucking the chin, and press down with the hands. As you press down with the hands, feel the upper back widen. And then bring the hands behind you and slowly begin to lower all the way down. And send the feet out long in front of you. We'll send the feet up towards the face. Pulling the feet up, yeah, good. And then pulling the chest forward, lengthening through the spine. And then reaching the arms forward. And we'll slowly begin to roll all the way down. Tucking through the tailbone first, engaging through the abs to help you roll all the way down. And land here for a moment. Snuggle the shoulders up under the heart space. Take a breath. Maybe sigh it out. We'll take another breath to melt just a little bit. Then we'll bend through the knees. Draw them up to the chest and give them a little squeeze. Send the left foot out straight up, sending the heel up to the sky. And send the right foot out long to a place where you can keep the low back flat to the mat. So wherever that foot goes, up or down, keep the low back flat down to the mat. Hug the navel in. Lift both toes up. And then reach the hands up over the head and lift the head and the shoulders and the hands like you have a big beach ball overhead, and then take that beach ball over towards the left. And then up to center, then over towards the right. And then up to center, over to the left one more time, to center, and then over towards the right, to center, and then bring both knees in, give them a squeeze. Take a breath and reset. Then send the right foot straight up for the sky, pressing up through the heel, drawing the toes down towards the face. And then we'll press the left foot out long to a place up or down, wherever you can lower it, but still keep the low back flat. So there's no daylight there between your low back and the mat. And then we'll reach the arms overhead, lift the head and the shoulder ball over towards the right, and then to center, over towards the left, to center, side to the right, pressing down with the low back, the center and the left, center, and then hug both knees in. Give them a squeeze, rock a little side to side, let the head loll side to side with you. Take the knees in little circles. Feeling a massage all through the low back, through the sacrum, up to wherever you happen to notice a little massage, maybe all the way up into the upper back. And then reverse your circles, taking them in the opposite direction. As you let the knees like really drop in the front, feel the low back really release. The pelvis tucking and tilting as you circle. Then bring the feet down, keeping the knees bent. I'll come into some bridge poses. So we'll begin by snuggling the shoulders up under the heart, and then bend the elbows, bring the hands to robot arms. Press the elbows down into the mat. And for our first bridge, we'll hug the knees close together. Take a breath. And then with your exhale, press up through the hips, press down through the elbows. We'll take a breath here in this bridge, drawing the shoulder blades together, pulling the knees towards each other. And exhale, lower the hips. Lower the hands, take the feet out wide to either side and drop the knees in towards each other, our constructive rest. We'll take a breath to let the low back come back to neutral. And then walk the feet back. This time, the feet and knees are in line with the hips. So there's like maybe 2 fists approximately, 2 fist distance. You can even measure here. Take your fists together in between the knees and then place the knees down, feet down right there. And then we'll bend through the elbows again, keeping the hands, the fingers wide like starfish. And then press the elbows down, and with your exhale, we'll lift the hips back up. Snuggle the shoulders together, press down through the elbows, press up through the hips. Take a few breaths in this bridge pose, pressing down through the feet. And then exhale, lower from the top of the back all the way down to the low back. Let the hands release. Take the feet out wide again to either side of the mat. Let the knees drop into center together. And take a few breaths. And walk the feet back in. Bring the soles of the feet to touch. And slowly begin to lower the knees down into butterfly, but very slowly, not just letting them fall, but slowly, actively lowering them into a butterfly. You can bring the hands to either rest on the inner thighs or just alongside you. We'll take just a breath here. Feel the low back lifting up off the mat and feel that low back release. Let the shoulders release and relax, drop down. Take another breath here. Leave the right knee where it is and take the left knee over to join it. Twisting over towards the right, taking the arms out to a T, finding your supine twist. Options, you take the left ear over towards the mat and turn the head towards the left, or keep it at center. We'll take a few breaths into this side. And bring the knees back to center. Lift the hips, realign. Then send both knees over towards the left. Option to turn the head again towards the right. I'll take a few breaths on this side. If you need a little more, you can cross the left leg over the right. Or you can leave the knees together at center. Or to the left, rather. 2 more breaths on this side. And slowly draw the knees together towards center. Lift the hips. Recalibrate the spine again. And take any last movements here that you feel you might need before we set up for our resting pose. Maybe rocking a little side to side or rotating, shifting. massaging into the back, rolling the head, whatever here feels good. As you're ready, begin to lengthen both legs out long. Maybe taking one more stretch to press down through the toes and reach up over the head. Then let the feet flap open to the side. The hands rest comfortably, palms up, gently at your side. Take a few more wiggles and jiggles. Then begin to settle in. Come to stillness. Come back to the breath. The breath as your anchor. As we work to really create space for the breath, create space for the mind, for creativity, for more expansion, to allow more good to come in. We'll continue with that idea of creating space and just let the whole body widen and release. As if you were spreading yourself like jelly across the mat. Forehead widening. Jaw widen. The shoulders widen and separate. The hips begin to widen. Through the thighs and through the feet. Elongating your breath. With every exhale, letting something go that you no longer need to make space. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. Bringing small movements back. Gently making the movements a little bit bigger. Until you're ready to draw the knees up. As you're ready, roll onto one side. And pause here for a moment. Maybe setting an intention for the rest of your day. How would you like to feel the rest of this day? Gently press yourself up to seated. And take a breath and notice how you feel.